Move all this over here. Do, 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 do. All right, let's get some inking done. How's that sound? All right, just to catch you up, because these videos will be re-uploaded. We already finished all the line art from Mega Man here, so we're going to be doing the inks. So I'll just go over, hey, setup. Hey, everybody in the chat. I'm just going to go over the workflow that we'll be doing. It's just inking, really. It's nothing too crazy. So this one here, it's a much more tame, simplified inking style that I'll be using here. It's very, I don't know how you'd say it, cartoony in a lot of ways. Most of it is just line art. Okay, so you'll see me as we do this. What the hell that even means, and all that stuff. I think I have. Just make sure. So there's a little bit of a fatter brush we're using on this one. Maybe not. We'll go to like 80, possibly. Okay. And we'll make a new window. Just put it off screen. So we've already done the line art, like I said. And now we can just focus on, it's pretty much getting to the end now. Now we just make the artwork look as cool as we can. And after that, it's just coloring, you know. Oh, P0, nice to meet you, man. And if you guys have any comments or questions or need help with that, then by all means, throw them in the chat. And I'll do my best to help you out. So I'm actually going to make a new brush here. Usually I'll make like big ones like this and then delete them. If I need it a little bit bigger. Do we start with Mega Man? Do we just get him out of the way? Let's start with my favorite. Let's get a Cut Man ready to go. Like I said, since this one is way more cartoony than like the Batman one that we'll be getting to after this, the lines can be a little thicker and it won't read as odd. All we're doing is just breaking up these lines here just to make them feel like they're inked, really. And you can also draw in white just to like fix certain lines, or like here I can kind of like paint in white like that just to break it up to give a nice little effect. But mostly we're just worrying right here, like this kind of stuff right here. These line weights here. And maybe, let's try it. Let's see if we can get a nice little like shine in here, see if how that looks. It's kind of cool. Your question is, how do you go about doing foreground blur parts right? Whew, that's a good question. I have no idea. Are you talking about like in Photoshop or in Clip Studio here? Or do you also just mean like a general art principle kind of thing? Well, they have the blur tool, or like something. Where is it? Filter, blur. Yeah, it's one of these. I guess you're just playing around with like whatever it is that you want blurred. Just have it on its own layer. Or you might actually be able to, let's try this out here. I don't think this will work. If I just make like a selection like this, go filter, blur, Gaussian blur. Yeah, see, it's only affecting that line. So you'll have to make sure all of your lines or all your arts merge together, and then just make a selection or whatever you want to be blurred. And then it's up to you, really, to decide on how intense you want it. The closer something is, the more blurred it can get. So I like doing this thing I'll show you guys in a second here. We're just going to turn the layer on and off, this inking layer, just so you can see the difference and just really just line art what it's doing. Alright, so if we turn it on and off, right, like this is what we have, and here, it's actually a pretty big difference. That's why I recommend you guys at least do this stage right here, this line art stage. Or it's not line art, sorry, this line weight. That's what I meant to say. Hey Game Legion. I don't want to go too heavy on like drop shadow stuff too, like, you know, like putting all this in shadow. Might look cool. Maybe I will. I don't know. It does look kind of good. Right now, I just want to focus on the line art or line weight. Why do I keep saying line art? The line weight, so I can see how this is looking before we start tossing all that extra stuff on there. Because once you go down that road, you have to keep going. You can't just do it in one spot. Do you know what I'm looking at? I'm looking. Oh, thank you, sir. So zoom out here just so you can see them, and we'll do that thing one more time. And it's actually going really quick, right? So like I can't imagine. I'm actually pretty quick with this inking stuff here. We've been doing it so much that it's pretty simple. You might notice if you guys are following this workflow that it tends to ramp up in speed as you get closer towards it being finished. So turn it off. So here you go. You just got flat, and then really it doesn't even look like there's much line like inking being put on there, but it's actually a dramatic difference between the two. like just breaking lines apart, like right in the eyes area, painting in white, adding that little shine effect on his scissors thing at the top, and yeah, it's pretty much it. And just adding like some little ding lines and stuff like that. You want the current brush I'm using? Thanks. Somebody was asking. I'll be putting them on Patreon this month. I keep saying that, but definitely is this month. Actually, let me do this right now. I'll put it up this weekend. Let me just make a little note. So if you're a Patreon, you can get them there. If you're not a patron, maybe consider becoming one. Patreon. Oops, wrong spot. It's just patreon.com. Is it on the screen? I think it is. Add brushes for patrons. And we'll do that on tomorrow's Saturday, right? Yeah, so we'll either do it tomorrow or Sunday. I got a little note there, so you guys are interested in there. So sorry, I do apologize again if you know. It's just it's an easy way for me to put them up somewhere. I don't. It's not that I want to charge anything for them, I guess theoretically, but it's whatever. I'm not not gonna get into it. If they're there, they're there. You guys like them, cool. There's some other stuff on Patreon there that you guys can follow, especially my own comics that we're gonna be moving forward on, which I'm super excited about for that as well. Yes, I do use Instagram. Is it not? I think is it not on there? Okay, let me. This always happens all the time. Where is this info bar? Oh, that's why, because it's way too position and size. Can I just see it cuts out? You know what? That's not bad. We'll just leave it there. Cool. That's better. The tomatoes. Tomatoes got to move. Oh, I actually forgot my timer. All right, come on, guys. You guys are gonna go. Boop. Actually, no, we'll move them to the top. That way, they're way out of the way. And I'm gonna set my timer here because I forgot. There we go. And let's get rid of those two because we only have 2 timers left. All right, sweet. Yeah, Instagram's awesome. I really just found out about it not too long ago. I had heard of it, but I never found a reason to use it. I always thought it was just for people to post food and other stupid things. But I found so many awesome artists on there that like I check it multiple times a day. I imagine most Instagram users, you guys do the same. What are we willing to judge your art? Judge it, or do you mean critique it? Yeah, post it in the chat. There's a bunch of people in here too that'll take a look at it as well. They'll give you feedback. A lot of really cool people. The tomatoes are just to show you guys which Pomodoro I'm on, which is just a Pomodoro, which is in this case a tomato, just represents 25 hours, or 25 hours, 25 minutes of working and then a 5-minute break. So you can see how many are on there. That's how many breaks I got left. Once they're all gone, instead of taking a 5-minute break, I'm taking a 10 to 15. And I know it sucks for people that want to watch a stream, uh, but we've been streaming for like what 4 or 5 hours now. So it's good to take breaks. You don't take breaks. If I don't take breaks, I don't know about you guys, but if I don't take breaks, I get burnt out, and we got lots of work to do. So can't have that. It's better to take more breaks and get work done instead of just taking no breaks and hoping that you can just plow through a whole bunch of work. Ooh, Michael, nice, man. But those are super tasty. Okay, if you guys remember, I said we would erase a lot of this stuff here so it can make it feel more like a spark. So I'm just drawing with white here. I'll add some little like speed kind of lines here. Cool. Some sparks. Some spacks. And this kind of inking is kind of fun too. It's like all just big, chunky kind of stuff. Let me just check out Brian Gamer Mix Art on Instagram. So let's do a quick critique. Instagram. Do 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 do. Hobby was saying, Brian, you have a tendency to make it go muddy. Try following the form when you apply the rendering. They will appear more 3D, so you won't end up overworking some pieces in this, if this indeed is your page. La, 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 la. So this here, I might start just saying this to what's it called? People that start sending me things. This isn't an attack or a negative thing at all. Please, nobody take it that way. And I'll probably say this every time I do this, but so I'll look at art like this. There's a lot. There's nothing. I don't want to say there's nothing wrong with it, but okay. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just that it requires you to almost like keep doing what you're doing, keep trying your best to get better, keep studying, keep learning, keep drawing as much as you can every day, every day, every day, every day. And in like 2 years to 5 years time, I know that might sound like whoa, that's what are you talking about? It's a long way, but that's the that's a good thing to be showing people then. Not that this is a bad thing to show people at all. It's just there's things in here that I'm seeing that in that amount of time you'll be able to fix it. So like there's a lot of like the anatomy looks good, but it's flat anatomy. We just have like these little like shoulder line here, tricep line here. Nothing looking like this is connected. Same with the leg. There's just like a lot of lines in here that are hinting at muscle, but nothing's solid in this thing. The cape, there's no to me it might be wind, but wind doesn't just go straight down. So you have a cape line going here, and then the cape going in here. So it almost looks like the cape is off-centered. Whereas if it was flipped, where the cape's coming in here and the cape's coming on down this way, it would look better. Again, anatomy is off. Right here, we're hiding hands still. We're hiding feet. I haven't seen the whole image, so maybe Instagram just cut that off. Your lighting isn't consistent. I have an understanding of where it's going, but there's a lot of work that needs to be happening here. The cast shadow you have from the boomerang is awesome, but it should be curving because it's on a thigh that's round, right? So like this line here should come wrapping around here. There's a lot of shadow going on here in his stomach, which makes him look like he's got a gut, right? But anyway, I just want to super quick. If we just go really quickly through some of your stuff, right? Like this is the stuff I'm talking about. This is awesome. Like there's stuff in here that's style, and it's amazing. I love seeing artists that draw like this because there's a lot of like impact going on. But again, the fundamentals are off. So shoulder is this shoulder doesn't make sense because all of this could be a shoulder almost, but that's you're telling me that's his whole torso. His bicep and tricep are becoming one. The sword's perspective is off. He's got 4 fingers, but you've only drawn 3. This little lump here, I know it's supposed to be a finger, but it almost reads as like the fat part of the palm when it's come down, you know? And that's what I'm just trying to say here. There's a lot here to keep you going. Don't stop. But and these little dot things could be style and stuff, but it's just structure, right? Like his nose is caved into his face. It's almost like it's almost like skeletal. There's no nose sticking out here. Just little things, that's all. So in like 2 to 5 years, you guys will be way better artists than you are now. So keep doing what you're doing. Don't stop. I'm glad to see that you're drawing. And yeah, thank you for sharing. Thank you. Slow and steady wins the race. And the only real like critique besides like whatever I just said again is just that is fundamentals. And I find people get really upset, and I'm not saying you are at all because nobody's saying anything in the chat about this, but people get upset when you tell them fundamentals. And I don't know why. I almost feel like people think that when somebody says you need to tighten your fundamentals or work on your fundamentals, you're telling them you don't know how to draw. You know what I'm saying? See you later, Keeman. Thanks for popping in, man. And like hell, I still work on my fundamentals. Fundamentals are something you'll always get better at. It's like have you ever played like a role-playing game? And you level up and you stop putting your points into like your warrior skill or something. Like swords. Let's just say swords is a skill you can put points into, and you just get better at the swords. But you stop doing that. You start putting points into your style, like whirlwind and like slash attacks and stuff. They're all real pretty. They're all real great. But your fundamental attack or your fundamentals in art, in this case, they need to always be touched on. You always have to keep going back and getting better at them because you're going to be a more of an awesome artist, hopefully, in 5 years than you are right now, right? So if you stop giving the fundamentals the attention they deserve, you're only really hurting yourself. And this goes for pretty much everybody, myself included. If you're not finding ways to at least sketch every day, if not every other day, of just like what's like good in your field. So if it's anatomy, if it's storytelling, if it's most of the time it's just structure. Structure. If you could study breaking down anything into cylinders, squares, triangles. I know it sounds absolutely stupid. I know. There's nothing flashy about it. There's nothing cool about it, but I'm telling you right now, just please, if there's one thing you'll ever take from me, from any kind of advice or whatever, is don't stop drawing cylinders and squares, triangles. Don't stop looking at something and trying to break it down into those simple shapes. Because yeah, you might not be able to draw a horse. I can't draw a horse. But if you understand your fundamentals, your structural fundamentals, you can make a horse that looks, like, okay, it's a horse, but it's just a badly drawn horse. And you might be able to get a little bit more mileage out of just drawing things that are a little bit better than how they normally would have looked if you didn't study structure at all. And again, I know it's not fancy. It's nothing special. Structure's like, oh cool, look, you're almost like just doodling and scribbling all day, but people that have solid fundamentals and solid structure, like they stand out. If you want to draw really complicated images and stuff, structure, structure, structure. Foreshortening is a perfect example. We all want better foreshortening, right? And how do you get better at foreshortening? You need to understand what the hell you're drawing. That's all. Oh man, the stretches. Michael. And actually, if you're drawing every day, sometimes it only take a month before you see monumental leaps. Absolutely, I 100% agree. When can you buy this? This will be going on sale next month. And thank you for the interest and support. So Bomb Man's done. So we got Bomb Man, we got Cuts Man done. I'm thinking we're gonna do another pass after this of like some shadow placements. You know, like here would be really cool to have like the bomb kind of be a little bit more bomby, I guess. This kind of thing's really fun to do because you get like some simple bold colors on stuff, and that always looks nice. Hey Callum, I haven't seen you in here in a while. Hey Jonathan, have you ever listened to the Kevin Smith podcast, Fat Metal Batman? He has some great interviews with artists. Yeah, actually, I think Will Robson. Hopefully, you guys remember him. He was here this morning. He pointed that podcast out to me. I don't listen to it very often though. I don't really listen to a lot of like superhero stuff. I love superheroes, but I don't read a lot of superhero books, or maybe just because I grew up on them. But no, I don't really listen to a lot of that stuff. Probably should though. A Tokyo Ghost. No, I have not. Oh, no problem, Colin. Thanks you. Thanks for just popping in anyway, man. Appreciate it. I'm just saying, certain names they pop up from, jeez, any of the streams that we've done. And sometimes like I remember you. You know. No, Michael, I still haven't read that. I don't even know what it's about. So many cool books to read and comics to check out. It may be cool if you color this. You could change the color of Sparkman, Electman, and the outline some of the golden glider. Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. Black Road. Okay, I'm gonna write these down. Check them out. John, I just got into the stream while watching Dragon's Dogma. How is that game? A lot of people talk about that. I always hear Dragon's Dogma is one of those games that I think a lot of people haven't and won't play, but they should. That's what I hear. Because robots gotta have abs, right? So let's give them some abs here. Oh, geez, that's a lot of time. I'm glad you're having fun. So he's pretty much done too. These are, oh no, I forgot his whole arm. Yeah, this stuff always goes quick when it's much more relaxed, like cartoony kind of style stuff. I think we'll add the whites to their eyes if we want them later. We'll do Fireman here. I don't want to add too many details to his fiery hair here. Save a lot of that for color, but I know we can change the color of the line art. So I might give it just a little bit of pop. But I also don't want it looking like smoke. Would you have any time to critique anything during the stream today? I did Wolverine illustrations, proving pretty good. Yeah, what the hell? Let's do it. Go ahead. Knock it out, bud. If you have a link to it online, just post in the chat. Just remove like the .com or whatever it is, or put a space somewhere in there. That way you can post in the chat. This inking on this is going pretty quick, so I can't imagine I know the Batman one and stuff. That one's gonna take longer, but it's pretty simple stuff here. And if you get me that thing to critique, I'll have to do it after the short break here. It's about time for that thing to go off in a second here. So. It's good timing. So, all right, I'm gonna take my break a little early here to answer this phone. So let me punch this up here. And one sec. Okay, sorry. I would have left the music on, but I forgot that I don't. I don't have any music. Okay, so let's turn off a tomato. So again, just so you guys know, I will check this out first before we keep drawing. But after this 25-minute session, there's a 15-minute break. Just to keep you guys up to date. Okay, so let's check this out and do a little critique here for Ben. Thanks, Ben, by the way. Whoops, paste. Let's get rid of here. Sometimes these URLs are a little tricky. Let's try this out here. Got it. Okay, so let's copy it. And we will paste. So before I do this real quick too, do you mind just telling me what it is you're looking for me to critique in particular? If it's just like the general image itself, just let me know. Or if it's just whatever, just let me know. Because sometimes certain people, it's not that they shouldn't. Sorry. Most people, they just send something to look at. They don't let me know what it is that they're looking to improve on. Because if you don't have like what you're trying to improve on, it's a little bit more difficult because at that point then it's just kind of like, do you like my artwork, and what sticks out, you know? If that's the case, that's fine. But if you do have something, that'd be great. Proportions, line quality, composition mostly, but in general the quality. Okay, so if I'm on the right track, the commission type work. Okay, so I see. So there's obviously you want to know if it's good or not. That's going to be subjective, but you want to also know if you can make money off of it. So first, like right off the bat, yes, I think you can make money off of it. But if you want to make sustainable money, it's going to need some improvements. So the first thing I see that's off, and I recommend everybody do this, okay? And you may have done this, and if you did, I apologize for saying you didn't. But I'm going to assume you didn't, and I assume a lot of people don't do this. Is this right here, just flipping the image, okay? Because I can tell right now that his eyes are out of whack. Like this eye right here is too high, right? But sometimes while you're drawing this stuff, things they don't make sense. Or they feel like something might be off or something, or you just don't see it because you've been drawing this way. But as soon as you flip it, errors mostly, they can just pop out right away. So again, that eye, now it really looks like it's shooting up. Now that eye is really taken off, right? There's a lot of anatomy problems here. It's a cool style drawing, but there's a lot of fundamental issues going on here. One of them being too, like his claws are getting bigger at the top and smaller at his wrist or his knuckles, which should be the other way around because of the way that you have the arm rendered out. A lot of the rendering doesn't make any sense. It's just sort of thrown in there. We've got some vein lines put on there, but they don't make any sense either. And this here is a big problem. Is this shade is very close to this. Okay? And that makes it look like his arm isn't really connected right. So what I'll do real quick here is we're just going to do very quick, and again, this will have a little bit more of my own style in there, so I don't really think there's too much we can do about that. But hopefully it'll show you just a little something here. So just putting this line in here like this. I don't know how much, again, structure. We know we were already talking about that. But we need to know where things are lining up here. And if you're not using structure, then a lot of these things start getting out of whack. So right away you can see we've got these weird muscles that are doing this, but I feel like you're just putting them in there just to connect it to a shoulder. But this shoulder pad doesn't even make sense either. So I'm just going to use structure lightly based on what you have here, just to show you how things should be here, okay? Just off what we got here. So I'm using your pecs here that you got, pecs here. And if you notice, the shape here is actually goes like this, okay? It's really a cylinder that's doing this. That's it. This is your neck, okay? So we've got our pecs coming here, pecs going here. Our abs are going like this because of the curve that we already have here, right? So that means those abs need to really start going like this. And if you have his hips kind of just standing straight, I mean, I guess that's fine. But you need this here. You have to have it. If you don't have this, everything starts falling apart pretty quick. And you notice all the lines I'm doing here, they're all doing this shape. They're all following that cylinder. Now what this also does too is it also lets us know where this muscle is back here, right? It doesn't just go like that. And this also gives us our side planes here. So your arm has to fit in there. So that means his arm is probably somewhere around here. But it's a cylinder, or it's a circle, right? Going into a cylinder, which is going into another cylinder, which is going this way. So let me just clean some of this up here so you can see it. Draw these little grid marks in there too if you have to. And you got his hand or whatever. Okay, and if you flip it, it still holds up because we've spent the time just very quickly too. I understand this is why I keep telling you guys about fundamentals. If you're struggling with anatomy, stop doing this. I'm not blaming you on any of this. I just want to point it out, and I feel like I have to continually say this is stop going right to style. Stop going right to style. Stop going right to style. Start spending a lot of time with this boring ass shit right here. Okay? Because this could be any character. We can put anything on top of this. We can put all the detail, the style on this. If we don't do this and we skip all this and we go right to this, things flatten. Things don't make sense. There's errors when there shouldn't be. Now, in saying all that, the more you do this, the more you draw, the more of these errors you'll see. That's all. Right? So keep doing what you're doing. Thanks for sharing. I appreciate it. Keep doing all the studies you're doing. I can tell right now, or at least I'm not saying that you didn't do this, but you might not understand this yet. Okay? And that's fine. That's okay. I've had Patreon meetings with people. I've had, obviously other people like yourself send me stuff and have shown me that, yes, I did do this stage here, but even with all that, I still got to this. And that's okay. That's just practice and learning. Because really what it is, and this is the tricky part, is I understand, okay? So if we have an arm coming like this, and I'm telling you guys, like, okay, do cylinders here, right? Like, so this is a sphere, whatever, and this is a cylinder, and we're going into an arm. Right? I understand that it's like, well, John, how do I take this and how do I put muscle on that? And you're not sure yet where muscles are supposed to fit into all of this. You don't know that yet. And I totally get that. But you have to believe me. Have to believe me, okay, that continual practice and work of just the cylinders will get you to where you want to be. Believe me, please. And you're going to have to bang your head a bajillion times up against the wall of like, I can't believe I'm still doing stupid blank, and you know. But if you do that, keep doing it. Your art is going to skyrocket above people that choose not to do this. And I say this and I say this with 100% confidence and experience of being hard-headed and going, you know what? No, this is born. Like, I would grab an anatomy book, I would draw from it. That's great, but most of my time was like, I want to draw Wolverine or a black Wolverine or whatever, right? I want to draw a character. I want to draw my own comics and stuff, which is all good stuff. Good stuff. But this is going to help you, period, with your storytelling, being able to tell better stories, all of that stuff. Gesture, right? Like, how do you have a person like, moping? If you're drawing somebody like moping, probably you guys have probably always seen this. So you got the character walking like this, okay? And yeah, this is very cartoony. I understand that, but you got like legs dragging, right? Arms almost like at the floor. I'm going very exaggerated here, okay? Maybe they're looking down because it's whatever, right? And you start putting structure on this to figure this out. That's great. But if you're starting with this here, this is the chest. This is the hips. If you're doing this, in my opinion, it's a waste of time. This right here is a big waste of time. This is where you want to be. Okay? And yes, I understand. This right here is just scribbles. But once you start putting this on top of it, the structure, it's going to make more sense than trying to figure out this stuff. And this is sort of like the argument I have for anatomy books, and this will be mine, and you guys say I'm wrong, and that's fine. That's all fine. But like Loomis and all that, when they would show you how to draw, it's like, here's an egg. This is great for drawing skeletons, okay? But we're telling stories. We're storytellers, right? This doesn't get us to anything unless you're drawing skeletons. And even if it's skeletons, you want to be drawing skeletons like this. This is where you get your energy in your life, right? Like, if somebody's standing there, just start like, look how fast I'm scribbling here. I don't know where this chest is gonna be. Okay, so I've got like a box, and okay, maybe there's like some hips here, but I don't know. Okay, cool. This might look like it's working out. Maybe, I don't know. Okay, cool. Let's tilt this up a bit, and we can do like a classic. Okay, they got their hand on their hips here, and maybe they're talking to somebody. Yeah, they're talking. Let's zoom out here so we can see the whole thing. They're talking. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe a head's about this big because it looks about right. Cool. This has a lot more energy in it than this. Okay, 100%. And literally the next thing you do is what I just said. Just lighten it up or whatever, and then start figuring this out. Start figuring out. Okay, so here's a cylinder for his chest. I'm going to tilt it this way. And this takes practice. I do understand this. But please believe me that this is going to get you guys where you want to be faster. And if you go through the BS now, your future self will thank you. And that's coming from experience. Right? So maybe this leg is forward. Do you see? And this is what I want. Like, I'm trying to really help, beat in your head here. Everybody's head, not just you, pal. Is look at what I'm doing. I'm just curving, like adding lines, stupid lines on top of these things, and right away you can see that forms are coming at us and going away from us, right? So if I have here and I have like an arm, okay, so maybe this arm is coming at us, sure, and this arm is kind of going back into here, and this arm is maybe coming at us because he's kind of talking to somebody here. Okay, let's just put little balls on there for shoulders. Cool. We don't need find like a center line, and maybe he's got his little head tilted, right? And you can make this any character you want now, right? And I'm hoping you guys can see that, right? Because like even the Wolverine, check this out. The Wolverine you sent. I'm just using this as the example here, right? So we've got like this cool. He's like looking at that claw, That's fine. But what if we just again with scribbles, what if, you hunch him a little bit, I don't know. Okay, he's kind of here. He's looking down a little bit. He's kind of, coming here. Maybe we could put like a little hand here. It's all scribbles and stuff. It's so loose, right? Maybe this hand, he's just got a fist, but he's not got a claw out here. And he's kind of hunching forward, like I said, and kind of go here. All right, cool. Like I already know where I'm going with this just based on scribbles and practice, right? So let's do what we just did here. So he's leaning forward, so that cylinder is tilted forward. Awesome. And we're putting all these little guidelines in here, okay? Here's maybe the center line. Awesome. And I'm not going to worry about the shoulder just yet, because who cares? This arm is kind of coming at us here. And I'm really going to push this here. Let me just clean this up. So here's a hand into a forearm. And I know the hand and all these things are very complicated shapes, but like I said, with practice, you'll just get this. So put a little circle for a shoulder, and just do the same thing on the other side, and again with the head. Right, and then you just start throwing anatomy on that. I know I'm saying the same things over and over again, but I'm hoping just through explanation you guys can kind of understand and see it there. That's what I do. I really like playing with lines and angles. These tips are awesome. I've had a hard time connecting things together. Exactly. Connecting things. Like, here's your torso, and here's your hips, right? Well, how the hell do we connect them? With practice, you'll start to understand, okay, like love handles are great. So let's connect them this way. And I'm going real gross with it here, right? But you'll find little tips, right? Like, okay, well, this little chunk here, this little like the line I always hear the ladies like when you see a dude when they got like the little cuts going in here. And if you got your pecs up here, and I go, okay, well, here's my rib cage, right? Okay, so I know I've got abs in here, and this is like just houses the abs. It's really all it does. And I can just, as long as I make a little puffy mark over here like this, cool, and that looks like it's muscle. You know what I'm saying? Like, and then you can give him like great big lats, and maybe he's got some gigantic arms, and he's flexing. You know, who knows what you want to do here? Whoops. But it's finding, like you say, these connection points. Like, how do these connect? I don't know. Keep doing them, and eventually you're gonna get like a little light bulb. That's the worst light bulb I've ever seen. But you'll figure this stuff out, guys. That's all it is. That's all this is. And the only way you will figure this out is continually learning and practicing and asking questions, right? And if you're struggling with it now, just know it's not going away. It's not going away. Stick with it, and as long as you're continually trying to improve it, it will improve. Just never settle with, well, it's done. Or, it's okay. Don't ever say that about your art. To me, you're only hurting yourself when you start saying stuff like that. By the way, thank you. Thank you again for that. Okay, so this character here, this one's going to be a little bit of a... What if we just block it all in? Yeah, Michael Hampton's Figure Drawing Design and Invention. That's a great book. He has. I actually think he's probably one of the better books to check out. It is a pretty heavy read, but especially for comics and anatomy. That okay. So as a comic book artist or illustrators, right? Usually, I would say their jobs are the hardest because you have to be able to draw a whole bunch of things. Mostly, again, with like humans, right? Like human anatomy. But what that book shows, which is great, is that you can use keystones, he calls them, as little areas that you'll always remember. So, like, if as long as this area is somewhere, I'm being very vague right now, but like you'll have little keystones on the body where it's like, what's a good example? Like where the belly button is to where like the bottom of the rib cage is. As long as you remember those points, when you start twisting figures in space and stuff, it's very easy not to get confused and lost as to what's supposed to be there because there's sort of like little guideposts that you put in the ground, and they keep you on track. And because of that, that's why I recommend that book because once again, since we're comic book artists, we need to be able to draw like really complex poses. Like, there's things we're drawing that don't make sense that you wouldn't normally get all the time. Plus angles, camera angles, and all sorts of stuff. Like, it's tough. It's tough work. Oh, so thanks so much, John. I definitely skip on a practice. Hey, don't. Hey, thank you for saying thank you. I hope you believe me when I say things like a lot of people ask for help, and when I say what I just said, they don't listen to it. It just goes in one ear and out the other. So don't skimp out on it as much as you can. Don't get me wrong. You want to be able to do the stuff that makes you sit down and draw all the time? Absolutely. If it just starts becoming a job and like work, you're not going to stick with it, right? I get that. But make sure that you're making time for it. That's all. That's all I'm trying to say. Oh, let me set the timer. I forgot. Hey John, I'm going to New York Comic Con next month. Any tips for displaying your comic portfolio? Hmm. How to display your? Are you having a booth, or you just bring a portfolio? Also, I need to show other sequential other than Sonic comics. It's my first time showing. Okay, so I'm under the assumption that you're just showing. You're trying to get work. Uh, what I've been told anyway is yes. If you're trying to have comic book work, make sure the majority, if not all of your comic or all your portfolio is comic pages. Probably have anywhere between 5 and 10 pages, maybe around there. That sounds good. You don't need a lot. You just need something that shows people that when they look at it, you can. We've all done it, right? You guys can go on Instagram, whatever, right now, and you can look up an artist, or just skim through the search thing, or anywhere online, and whatever you see first, like that's what you're gonna understand, like how the person draws. That's why there's this saying going around that you're only as good as your last piece of work. So the last thing you've posted online, it might not be like, oh guys, you need to see this, it's great. But if that is the first thing somebody sees, that's what they think you can do, right? So just make sure that obviously, it's your tightest work, it's your newest stuff. In my opinion, everything you're bringing should be brand new stuff. You shouldn't be bringing anything that you've done more than 6 months to a year ago. Uh, as for your question, should you just bring Sonic stuff? Well, I'm not an editor, so I don't know. I would have to assume though that if you showed, like, let's say Marvel, DC, Sonic stuff, they'd probably pass, but they might say okay because they might have let's say a younger audience, and that style fits that, right? Just my quick example that I like to follow, and I haven't done this in in a long time, but when I was bringing portfolios around, is once you've decided to go, okay, I'm going to make a portfolio for some conventions coming up, and give yourself some time, unless this is like a last minute thing, but if you can give yourself some time to make the portfolio, even better. But go to the comic book store, don't buy anything, just go to the comic book store, take your phone, take whatever, look at the books on the shelf from that company. So even the Sonic books, take a look at them and be honest with yourself. Take some pictures of really cool things you see, but be honest with yourself. Look at it and go, am I better than this? Don't say, am I just as good? Am I good enough? Because they've already got that. They've already got that. They're looking for somebody that's got something fresh. And that's why I'm saying I don't know what that is, because I'm not an editor, and you never know what everybody's looking for, right? Like the Wolverine picture we just did, I'm just using that as an example, is like I had all those things to say, but that's not to say that somebody else sees it and they go, "Holy hell! Like that's amazing." Everybody's got an eye for something, right? And that's why nobody knows the right or wrong way to do something. There's just like this sort of like in the air ruling for this sort of stuff. So show everybody you can. The worst that you're going to get out of it is at least some feedback on how to improve. So that's great. But maybe also look specifically for places that are looking for like that sort of style. Yeah, see you later, Michael. Thanks for coming in today, bud. So yeah, I wouldn't really necessarily say don't go anywhere. Just go everywhere you can, and and know that you're probably not going to get work, and that's just the real talk there. That's not to dismiss anything. I honestly do hope you come out with some editor emails, because that'd be amazing for you. But just go there with, yes, the hope of finding work. But if you can even get some feedback, that's good. But just take all the feedback you get with a grain of salt, right? Because with the internet too, man, it's so good. You could actually, as long as your art is sound, even that's probably not even true. There's so many people like that are working. You might look at their stuff and say like, how the hell, like that arm doesn't even make sense. That anatomy doesn't make sense, but they're still getting work, right? And people like it. So That is one of the beautiful things with the internet. So just do you. That's really about it. Be confident and be open. Be open, be respectful. That's all. That's more like just editor etiquette, like just be a human being, don't be a jerk. But that other, do you need to show other sequentials? You could show it if you want to show that you can do like a range of styles. I probably wouldn't. I'd probably just stick with what you like. Um, if it is just Sonic, though, perhaps I don't I don't know, man. Because no matter what, if they like your stuff, you're going to get. They're gonna ask you for like samples or something, right? Like, so let's say Marvel likes your stuff. They're like, "Hey, we really like your stuff. Keep in contact. Cool." So for 6 months, you keep doing that, and eventually, like, "Hey, we really like your stuff. Do you mind doing a sample of like I don't know, what would be a cute character? Rocket Raccoon. That's probably the cutest one I can think of. Do some just like a 3-page Rocket Raccoon, just so we can see how they look in your style." Whereas if you submitted on that day, you submitted a Rocket Raccoon stuff for them to look at. From what I've heard, anyway, they're still going to make you do a sample before they actually put you on a book until you start getting some of this stuff under your wings, or maybe even still. I don't know. I don't know how long that lasts for. But knowing all that, some people what they do is they just do their own comics, right? So if Sonic is the style you like, perhaps keep doing that, but just make your own character. Like do like a 5-page story with your own character that's not Sonic, if you want. I don't know, because it's no different than me going to Marvel and going like, okay, well here's 5 pages of Spider-Man. That's great. They can say I draw Spider-Man and stuff, but at the same time, if you drew 5 pages of your own thing, well now you might be able to put those things online. You could put it in a PDF. You could sell it. You could do a bunch of things with that time, and it doesn't have to be somebody else's licensed property. Because we all know what like Sonic looks like. We may not know how you necessarily draw Sonic, but I don't know if that's a bad thing or a good thing. Hey, Felix. Hey, no, yeah, you should be nervous because if you haven't done it yet, it's a thing, man. But wish you all the best. It's a great experience for sure. So I think we're gonna do Mega Man now, and then we can do Guts Man, and this is pretty much close to done. I'll see how much of like extra shading and stuff we're gonna put on things, if anything. Oh, I forgot about the background. But yeah, this is coming along really well. You can see right away when you just start putting some inks, right? Like how things change so much. Yeah, it's super fun. All right, Mega Man. I should also note as well that all the advice I just given you is from somebody that hasn't. I've had editor reviews, but I haven't done any like big stuff. So I'm not published by anybody that's like a big publisher too. So take all that stuff with like a grain of salt there. When is New York Comic Con too, by the way? Is it October or is it this month? I've only been there once, and that was like a few years ago now. That was super fun. When did I go there? 3 years ago, maybe? Around there? And I brought my portfolio and stuff like that up there. I was, oh my gosh, super excited. And I was like, alright, it's been a while since I've done this. Not that I think I have a better chance or anything, but I hope, I have at least something here to be able to sit down with somebody and just talk. And Marvel and DC, I didn't hear back from anyone. Anyone. They didn't care for what I brought, which is funny. It's scary and funny at the same time because it just means to me, not again, maybe they didn't like what I had. That's totally a possibility and probably what it was. But with the internet now, there's so many people available for stuff that it's like it's tough. There's so much quality out there that you never know what people are looking for. So it's good. It was fun. First week of October. Okay, cool. Hmm. Why'd you have to do that? Just super busy? October 6th. Okay, cool. Oh, you started. Yeah. Well, that'll do it. Yeah, it's super hard, man. That's why you hear like a lot of older chaps too, like myself too, but guys and girls that got like families and babies and full time work or teenagers and stuff that just I think that's where a lot of people get the most frustration. It's like I just can't. There's no time. I can't. There's so many things pull me in all sorts of directions that I can't focus on stuff. And then the tragedy of that is like some people they start doing I guess what I was doing, where it's like, all right, well let's just do smaller projects. You just start adding more to your plate. Real tough. All right, so these little like lemons that he's shooting, I'm going to change them up a little bit. I'm going to erase like the backs like these, just to add a little bit more speed to them. But first we got to get Gutsman inked up. And then I'm going to go ahead and, I was doing it with Mega Man here, adding like darker spots. So I'm going to do that with everybody else here. It'll just help make it pop. Make it pop. That's a good idea, Felix. It's a really good idea, actually. That's good. That's a good name too. Project Rebirth. All right. So let's fix up these little lemons. What the? So now they pop a little bit more. A little hard to see them, but once they're yellow and all that stuff. So, all right. So we got the ground to do, and but first, before we do that, I'm just going to do a quick pass over everybody here. Got a little bit bigger of a brush, and see if we can add just a little bit of black areas here to this stuff. Like Again, I don't want to do cast shadows. I don't want to do a lot of this here. Textured rendering and stuff, but on a bomb, you might be able to get away with it a little bit more. Thanks, man. So like maybe we can. I don't know. What are we gonna do here? Just in here. There. Let's try this out. See how it looks. Hmm. Don't think I'm sold on it. It's a little better. See if we do the kind of like the stylized rendering. See if that looks better. And I realize you guys can't see the other screens, what I'm looking at. Yeah, doing that little rendering there kind of helps. Don't want to go too crazy with it. A lot of Udon artists use this. I think it was Alvin Lee where I first saw it. Just adds like a little bit of animated rendering, I guess. Good way of saying it. So new to Clip Studio Paint, when I use that fill bucket tool, it leaves a little gap near the edge that I asked to fill in. How can I close that? Okay, so if you open up here your tool property, it's under Window, right here, Tool Property. When you click on your paint bucket, you're gonna get a whole bunch of settings in here. Fiddle with these. I don't know. I just got it to work, so I stopped messing with it. It has something to do with your area scaling here. That's what you're gonna want to fix, I believe. But just play around with the settings in there. Should work. Um, yeah, Iceman's fine. I don't think we need to. Yeah, what the hell? Do that. Maybe give him a little bit of a shadow. That scared the hell out of me. Just adding little dots of stuff. Make it look like it's more detailed than it is. Alright, so I'm going to push past this because, like I said, we're going to take like a 15-minute break. But I want to finish this. And all we got left are like these rock things. So let's get a big fat brush. I'm just drawing white here to clear all that out. Is there anywhere else? No. Okay. So with this stuff, just big brush. I don't want to take the attention too much away from what's going on, so just gotta be careful with it. All I'm doing here is just pressing light and heavy, like a lot. So just like light, heavy, light, heavy, light, heavy, light, heavy, light, heavy, light, heavy, kind of like that. And it just builds a texture up, that's all. And if you want to make this brush too, or try to, this is the shape. I've showed it before. That right there is if I press as hard as I can. That's the shape of the brush. Just like a little triangle thing. I'm left-handed, so maybe you could try making it go to the right. Might work better for you. I'll shrink the brush a bit. And again, I want to try to keep the, what's it called? Okay, cool. It worked. Awesome. Good job, V. I want to keep the background, even though I'm kind of doing it right now. Getting lost in there when I move along there, but just try to keep the background pretty tame. Again, with the rendering and the shadows, so that all the details in the front here can, like the characters can pop a bit more. And there's like a background right there. Minced. You know, what was one of the big things for me that I started getting better with hands was I stopped. Sometimes I have to do this with complicated stuff, but I stopped going like, okay, well, here's a hand, and then little pieces connect out of it. I stopped doing the cylinder stuff, and I started just sort of like organically making them. So like, let's say like a gnarled hand coming at us, I guess. Like, all right, well, there's a finger here, and like they're not even really fingers. They're just kind of like, you know. And then from here, then I could go over top and like add. Okay, so let's start trying to figure out this stuff. But to be honest, like even that right there was a lot. Like a lot of that was influences a lot of like how my style is now. But yeah, just try that. That might help you out. I hope it helps you out anyway. All right, so I think we're done. The last, absolute last thing we do here, I almost forgot, was my favorite little thing to add to everything is debris. So this just makes it, this gives the image a little bit more movement than there really is, I find. Just like adding little pieces of chunky rock and stuff, kind of like they're falling from the sky or they just jumped up. All right, she's done. Cool. So how long did it take? Hour and a half. Nice. Nice. And we will flip it just to double check. So, um, to me, it looks like there's still a lot of dead space in here, but I know once we get the color on here, it'll be fine. So I see something for kicks. Let's fill in these areas with black. I won't keep this, but this is just fun to do. That's kind of cool. And the reason why it's like, what's it called? Fun to do this sort of thing for me is what I wanted to do. And if you guys remember, even when we went back to do the silhouette, it's like I want Mega Man. I want nothing touching him. I don't want these guys touching him at all. I want them very close. But it adds to that sort of like impending doom. And I'm glad that it's still gonna read once we get to what's it called, colors and stuff. The quick onion layer. Oh, that's I made an action. It's just an action records a bunch of key presses and stuff for you. So I just press a button and does all that instead of doing it all manually. All right, cool. All right, guys. So I'm gonna be gone for, like I said, about 15 minutes. What I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna kill the stream again because this one's done, and I'll get the next one open and ready for what we're gonna do. Is I always forget here. So let me save that one more time. And I'll get this ready. I'm going to post it online so you guys can check it out too. We'll go 900 again for quality. Okay. Hey, let's open up the Trinity. Where are we? Ink. Oh, I already got one. Nice. I was looking ahead. So this one's going to be super fun to do. Don't need the reference. Don't need the borders or the script. Let's kill all that. Right. I'll just zoom in here to show you guys. You guys remember it. We got Wonder Woman, Soups. Actually, I'm going to change Superman's eyes. Gonna give him like the little squinty eyes. It's going to be awesome. And then we got Batman down here and a bunch of kids. Hopefully it doesn't look like they're trying to kill them and all that good stuff. But we're going to do this one here as well. But like I said, we're going to take a little break. About 15 minutes. So if you guys are still hanging around, stay in the chat or whatever. I don't know. It should just auto kick in once I hit stream. But just so you guys know, it'll be right back. And thank you guys. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.